Hello everybody, we are back here at the Ultimate Rugby Experience Nooit Gedacht Stellenbosch for another edition of Use It or Lose It. Schalk and myself, joined by one of our very good friends, our first overseas guest, but he's South African. Very apt that we are here at the Ultimate Rugby Experience. His name is Francois Louw. Yes, that's a name. Francois Louw. His grandfather is a Springbok, a legend of South African rugby. He is a Rugby World Cup winner and obviously also a Springbok. You might know him as Louw. Francois Louw, very welcome to you.
Thank you very much, guys. John, a wonderful intro as always. Appreciate you spelling out the full length of all my Christian names. How are you guys?
Floki, it's lovely down here in Cape Town. More importantly, how's Bath? Is the weather still holding up? Is there any plans for you maybe to move back to Cape Town in the near future? What's happening?
First things first, we had our summer, which came and went.
1 week
was very appropriate because it's done now. It's done. It's overcast today. Still warm. But we've had a good one so far. Holding thumbs for another glimpse of the sun over the next few weeks. But who knows in this place. But yeah, very settled here in Bath, South Africa, Cape Town. We hope to be back. But for now, we're going to be parked up right here.
Well, we certainly hope to see you back in South Africa soon, Flo, you and the family. Before we, get to the more serious stuff, we've known each other for quite a long time. The three of us, played a lot of rugby together. Had some fantastic moments on the field. Had the odd beer off the field as well. But there's something that really I saw during the week that really it made me feel uncomfortable, if I can put it that way. And that's a video that I saw of the two of you. Now, I always deemed the two of you to be really close friends, okay? In combat so many times before on the field in the loose forwards. But every now and then you got the opportunity to play against each other as well. And I would like you just to have a look at this clip of Bath versus Saracens. Francois Louw playing in the loose forwards, Schalk playing in the loose forwards, deemed to be friends, okay? And just explain to me what happens here. And maybe more importantly, I should ask Schalk, what's going through your head when you see your friend in the opposite team with ball in hand? Let's have a look at it, Flo.
We're going to drag it up and then we're going to go step for step.
Schalk, this calm individual before the game and after the game, and then during the game, you just see this human wrecking ball coming out. That's Schalk in white.
I mean, how is that even a tackle? What is that?
Just play it again. Play it again for us. Let's just have a look.
That is the full committed. I'm heading up. I'm about 4 meters ahead of my teammates, leading up the charge, and I connect Floki with the
Just look at the neck on number 7 there, boys. I mean, that is how I still played on. I mean, no wonder I'm retiring. Jeez.
I was just checking if the neck was alright, Floki. I knew it was dodgy, but it looks perfectly fine if you can handle that.
Yeah, it's that's rugby for you, Flo. And I suppose.
So side much.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously the funny thing, every time we went to play at Bath, we pulled in for the whole weekend, the long weekend. So we as Saracens, we'd never had a captain's run. So you can make your way down to Bath like Thursday night. So I always used to drive quite early, take the kids out of school for a day, arrive Friday morning, Floki will go off to have a little captain's run. I'll have a little pasta with him, a cup of coffee, and then I'll sneak out to the hotel, stay there, and then, make a long weekend out of it, So obviously, we'll see the videos of Floki in his pub later, but head down to the little pub, the little dungeon out the back there and have a proper sitting.
No, exactly.
My feeling is so can we so you guys are still friends?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So we can confirm that. What went through your head when you played against guys that you did not like?
Yeah,
I mean, if that's the way you treat your friends.
A little bit more rage. Obviously, you can't go much more over the board than that, but there was a specific guy who played for Bath right in the beginning and then moved to Rob Webber. And I mean, I could just remember, ever I played against him, he was quite a chunky number 2 hooker. And I just chased him around for 80 minutes and gave everything I had. Knees, even more elbows, bit of follow through. But Floki, it was always fair, except that was a little bit overboard. But you remember, I had to chase Flo around rucks for 80 minutes. That was Flo's thing, you know. I mean, this guy, it took some effort to move him from a ruck. He was stuck in most rucks and just surviving it in some way, shape or form.
Look, I think the silver lining is that you didn't go full 2009's line series on me in that match. I mean, it could have been a different story.
What are you talking about? You're talking about the alleged eye gouge, or what are you?
Yeah, I think Peter de Villiers put it quite nicely. If you want to check his post-match interview on YouTube, very very much alleged. No, but it's part of the game. We play a tough, hard game.
Schalk's nature and character is, if you know the man as I know him, he won't ever. He's too physical. I think he's more physical than any other rugby player in the world. To go to that kind of measures, so he's the boss on a rugby field, he will never ever do it.
That was obviously out of line, but I mean the one against Flo was actually just normal. It was normal
exactly.
rugby.
And why are we talking about? We need to be talking about him.
True.
So you spoke about Rob Webber being a bit of a chunky hooker. Now Francois Louw, Louis Francois, you were also a bit of a chunky young lad when you started off at Western Province, right?
I was well set, steady. Up and coming back rower. Trying to keep up with the big boys. I'd sort of make up for my youth with a bit of weight behind that. I think it's fair.
Floki, how did you lived in a little digs called the Shack in Stellenbosch, and then in your first year, you guys decided you're going to build a half pipe or a quarter pipe in the backyard. How did that end, and how did it go? How did the concept come about?
Yes, very very fond memories of my Stellenbosch days. Digs. Had I had a time machine, I'd go straight back. We were quite a busy bunch. Built a little home pub there. Braais all day long, all week long, and then decided to take it to another level. Move the cars out the parking lots, put them in the streets, and built a little mini ramp. Went very well for about 3 days until my housemate broke his leg. His dad was there not too long after, asking us what the hell we think we were doing when we're supposed to be studying, and they're paying all this money for us to get an education. Although I'd argue that it definitely honed on or sharpened my skills, my agility, but then I probably didn't really bring that too much through in my pro rugby game.
Flo, if you ever again speak about your ability and add the word agility to that, please. You were a lot of things. You were great at a lot of things. Agile is not one of those, so please. Okay.
Just to paint the picture, like back then, Flo was known as the Mullet Man. So it was like all business up front, and then a mullet pretty much, Flo, you got to get us a photo of that, pretty much right to the middle of your back. And the first time everyone told me, now I've got to go watch the Mullet Man play rugby. He was playing Western Province under 21, curtain raiser to us. It was another game before it. So I went to sit on the bench, watch the Mullet Man strut his stuff, Floki. The next moment, I saw him chasing the loose head of the Leopards under 21s, running around talking about rage with the Mullet Man. This guy was Vickers Blau, who later joined us, unbeknown to me. Eventually got him over the advertising boards, followed through with a headbutt, red card, end of the game. That's the first time I saw the Mullet Man run around in Newlands.
Let me just stop you there. Allegedly, there was a red card given, there was a hearing held and found not guilty.
Because you guys were behind the advertising boards. They couldn't see you guys. Or the mullet was in the way. The mullet must have flopped over.
Doesn't mean it didn't happen.
I mean, those were the days of pushing boundaries. I went for the mullets in the early 2000s. Schalk, you had the long blonde locks to the shoulders, pretty cool.
John had
Wild
that.
man, and we had John de Villiers with frosted tips. I mean, that was also a thing. I think when
Frosted tips,
maybe
gloves.
late 90s when some of the boy bands were getting together. But I mean, it was cool.
Thank you very much, Flo, for just reminding us of those fantastic days of forming our careers. My question to you, though, so you're a 19, 20, 21-year-old. You're the grandson of, one of the legends of South African rugby. Played for South Africa. Big name in terms of Western Province rugby.
Went to Paul Jim. It's important.
Went to Paul Jim, your granddad, Jan Picard. So how do you come up with these ideas as a student to build a half pipe, and how does the idea originate to grow this mullet? So Jack Goodhue, who plays for the All Blacks and the Crusaders, he's got a pretty decent mullet. I reckon yours was like Jack Goodhue on steroids times 5. So how does that process happen?
A very good question. To dive into the mind of a 19, 20-year-old, how they develop their style, what they want to try and achieve. Look, to be quite honest, there's not much that goes on in there. It's pretty much all trial and error in those days. At the time, I thought I looked pretty good. At the time, I thought I was a pretty good skater. In retrospect, in hindsight, just a punk trying to do weird things. Probably should have just focused on my studies and playing rugby.
Floki, but I mean, what blows my mind is how quickly you can grow a mullet. But then at the World Cup, you had something you named the Desert Tash. And the Desert Tash, it took 2 years, right? Or nearly 2 years. And all it was like, a standard 7 boys bum fluff.
It's actually no different to what we're actually not sure whether you've still got it or not. So can you just confirm whether you are still growing it or not, or have you shaven it?
Well, I've been very fortunate enough to get my first haircut since lockdown. I had a shave as well. Maybe you can have a look there. I think it looks a bit better, but I mean, I'll let you be the judge of that.
Yeah, no, it looked great. Go watch episode 1 of Use It or Lose It. There you will see my attempt and Schalk's attempt as well at growing facial hair. I'm gonna surprise you here and tell you that Schalk is much better than me.
John was pretty much looked like one Christmas someone named him Santa Pubes. Because at Christmas he arrived with this beard, and I reckon that pretty much sums up his beard. I go full red though, it's full orange, but it's nice and thick.
Yeah. No,
hey, as long as you just sport what you've got and you just live it like you're the boss, who really cares?
No, I'm sure you really owned that half pipe and the mullet that you had back in the early 2000s. Now, Flo, we spoke about your granddad, and I'm sure he would have been very proud of that mullet. No, I'm joking. I'm sure he'll be very proud in what you achieved in your rugby career since. Did you ever have kind of a responsibility, or you felt that there was an expectation for you to become a rugby player, or to kind of continue with that legacy that he left?
Yeah, I think obviously growing up, I suppose similar to Schalk, also having Western Province at home. That was always sort of the big picture was the Western Province team, Currie Cup in those days, as a young boy growing up. But I have to be honest, there was never an expectation from anyone else other than myself. My parents were pretty relaxed in terms of what I wanted to do. In fact, I think at one stage my dad was actually sort of not really for me playing rugby. There were a few injuries. I think in the late 90s, a couple of chaps had serious spinal injuries. And unfortunately, my grandfather passed away when I was quite young. I was 13 at the time. So I was still a young boy, really, and all the sort of desires or goals for me to play rugby, at the best level I possibly could, already came from myself, which I think was really the difference in my career. There was zero pressure, and I think that that gave me the free will to explore the game on my own terms. Whatever level I made it to, well done on that. Didn't really matter. It obviously took me a while to get where I did. As you guys know, I didn't follow a similar route to you guys through the junior ranks, but got there in the end. And then I met two lovely gentlemen like yourself, and here we are today.
Listen here, Floki, recently retired. Congratulations, awesome career.
Thank you.
Bath, went to Bath in 2011, is it? Played 76 test matches, 50 Super Rugby caps, 130 odd games for Bath. Talk to me, retirement, how is it?
Underrated, I think. I think I was mentioning to you guys in a pre-chat. I think what does put it on this level for me is obviously the fact that we achieved the ultimate success last year with South Africa. That is a pinnacle, and it's something you hang your hats on. I'll hang my hat on that for the rest of my life. But bar that, what an awesome career in my eyes. Having to play professional rugby for so long. To play both South Africa and in the UK, it's literally a game that's taken me all over the world, given me memories and experiences, and on top of it all, I got paid to do it. It's an awesome time if I look back. But on top of that, I have to say it is very nice not to be sore, not to have to push weights around. Not to suffer, not to have to ever run out in the freezing cold on the icy pitches again. I won't miss that, but I tell you, I will miss the camaraderie and the mates that I've made along the time, the good times we have, both on and off the field.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of part of where why Schalk and myself are doing this show as well, is that we go through careers where the focus is mainly just on the field performances, winning or losing games, but there's so many friends that you make along the way, so many experiences that you have off the field, that you can share as well, and that plays such a pivotal role in who you become one day as well. And as Schalk mentioned, I think you can certainly hold your head up high with an unbelievable career, and to be able to finish it in the way that you did, playing your last test match for South Africa in a World Cup final and winning it. That's the fairy tale ending that anyone wants. And we'll touch on the World Cup now. But what I would like to ask is the experience of playing in the UK, for Bath. So many players finish their careers in South Africa. They never get to experience the opportunity of playing overseas. How has that been for you, and how has that changed the way that you see the game of rugby, see life, and how has that sort of helped you to improve your game specifically?
Yeah, I think the decision I made originally was quite unique and quite out of the ordinary back then. As you said, often guys would finish their careers either in South Africa or they'd move abroad towards the latter end of their careers and sort of finish off in Europe, something along those lines. I moved, I would say, just before the peak of my career, really, in terms of my performance, I think. It was in 2010. We'd all just played in the Super Rugby final. Fortunately, we lost that one. I was playing alongside Schalk and Dwayne in the back row. In a starting position there with the Stormers. We had an awesome side. Things were really going well. There was only really, we're only really going to go upward from there. Maybe it didn't work out that way in the end, but I sort of had to make a big decision for myself. I decided I wanted to step out of my comfort zone, move abroad, and try something new, stand on my own 2 feet, and experience something that is right for me then and now. And sort of having looked at the timing of the move, I just made my debut for South Africa in 2010, which is an awesome moment in my my rugby career, obviously. And there was always a chance that this may jeopardize my chance of selection going forward. But that was a risk I was willing to take, and ultimately the decision I made to move abroad was for myself. And I don't think I could have made a better decision. I think ultimately I grew as a person, became a stronger character for it, and I think that's I'm sure you guys can attest to that directly rubs off on your rugby. Ultimately the best players are obviously super talented, but they're the best people. I got exposed to quite a lot this side, really, in terms of a different outlook to the game, different way of playing the game, experienced different players, different coaches from all over the world and how they play the game, a mixed bag of Aussies, Kiwis, the English, Welsh, Scottish, we even had a few Americans in our team, which is great. And then obviously got the call back in 2012 under your captaincy, John, which was
I had nothing to do with
fantastic.
it. I actually told him no. I said no, but then
Well, he didn't listen to you. So,
I needed some friends.
So I think in terms of that, it was a good move for me. I look back, it was the right decision to make. Initially, it was only going to be a 3-year deal, but 3 years turned into 9 years. So I ended up playing the bulk of my professional career this side, which I've thoroughly enjoyed.
Scalla, and actually for you as well. I mean, the position that you guys played, and the rugby that you play in the UK versus what you see in the Southern Hemisphere. I just feel that for you guys probably it is really tough over there. Yeah. But also it provides an opportunity where you can really grow and enhance your skill as a loose forward, and especially the way that the two of you play. Did you feel that?
I think the unique part of the UK is you got the season's sort of broken up in summer rugby and winter rugby, and that's got a massive effect on the way how effective me and Flo can be. So the start of the season, you can probably compare it to Super Rugby, where the game moves fast, it's high scoring, it's frantic. And basically your main contributions comes through your work rate, your work ethic. And then it turns to winter rugby, and that's probably the hard part. That's where we earn your money, where the game's a bit slower. And for it's a little bit more boring, I would guess, as a spectator or a Southern Hemisphere guy to watch. But for us, that's where we really earn our stripes. Mm-hmm. It's so attritional and it's so physical. But that is where Floki excelled in, when he got rucks in and about close to him, where you can just fly to ruck and be effective. But it is hard. It's a hard season. It's not only that, it's the length thereof, Floki. The length of the British season is something to behold.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much playing 3 tournaments in one season, all mixed up together. We've got a big squad here. It's impossible to play all the games, and you try and throw tests in the middle of that as well. So I think at some stage, as you say, it's just a question of survival. The weather comes in January, February time. It's not always the best team that wins on the day. It's the team that's willing to grind it out on the day. I don't really enjoy that part of the rugby. But as you say, there's 2 parts of the season. When the summer rugby comes, that's really where it is an exciting game over here. The pitches firm up. People like to throw the ball around in the sun. And as John has alluded to, that's where I can really show off my agility and do what I'm supposed to.
And let's talk about the pitches. The rec
worst.
In December, January is not the nicest place to play, right?
So anyone who's gone to the rec and they get fined the changing room is the worst part of the whole rec experience. Obviously the pitch, when it's raining, it's right next to the river. There's no grass, it's mud bath really. But the changing room, John, is pretty much 5 by 4. And there's one bathroom, and it's the only place in the world, except for when I played, Lentegeer out in Mitchell's Plain at Stellies University, where I actually got changed in the hotel. You get on the bus, in my boots, and I just pretty much run out on the field. And then you walk across to them, there's ice-cold lagers, there's masseuses, they've got about, 150 square meter changing room compared to a little 25 meter square changing room just down the road.
Part of the strategy, Flo, or what's the story there?
Look, I mean, I just arrived here a few years ago. It's obviously old school tactics that have, they just left in place. Don't make it too comfortable for the opposition. If we can manage to rattle them in any way, we'll obviously do that. But I must admit, it is a pretty tough outfit that visits his changing room.
Floki, talk to me through your time at Bath. Obviously, personally, great. I've been there a lot. It's a great town. One of the prettiest places in the UK. Funnily enough, it feels like you're not in the UK, but that's what the old UK used to look like. Cambridge is a similar place. It gives you that feeling. You want to go there. It's a magnificent place. But as a rugby team, there's so much talent always. Big squad, great training facilities. Obviously, your playing field, the old recreational, is a little bit messy, but you've got a good home record. Mixed success in your time there. Came very close to play in a final against Saracens. Unfortunately, on the day, they were just a better team. Many coaches, many players come and go. You were the constant. You were captain there. Was it an enjoyable journey? And will you, maybe when you retired now, would you think maybe you underachieved a little bit as a team over the period you were there?
Yeah, we, as you said, it was a bit of an up and down ride. You've stated the obvious. We've, had our fair share of coaches, throughout my time here. And obviously a new coach wants to bring a specific style of play, which requires a specific squad to achieve that. And obviously new players, so players come and go as well. That ultimately results in, a loss of cohesion or, a consistency there. As you said, we got pretty close in 2015, our best year, at least since I'd been in the club the last 9 seasons, reaching the Prem final. We had a great squad that year. It wasn't meant to be for us. But perhaps the other years, not quite achieving what we set out to. I think there was often a big case of we rebuilding. That sort of didn't really allow us to get into our stride and do what we set out to do, which was become a championship team. We've obviously just changed the guard again. After Todd Blackadder has left now, we've got an ex-player in Stuart Hooper taking over as director of rugby, and Neil Hatley joining us again from, he was previously with us, went to England, saw them through up to the World Cup, and he's back with us again now, and he'll probably take the reins in the rugby department. So, I think in that sense, there's definitely times where I felt, we didn't quite do what we wanted to, and that's underachievement. But close at one stage.
It is what it is, right? You can't do anything about it now. And
we had the same story at the Stormers in Western Province first.
When Flo was there as well. So it's the only constant is Flo. But no, I think there's many successes in all of that, right, Flo? But let's talk about and so many times we actually see that the consistency within a squad creates the success over a long period of time as well, or sustainable success. Whereas sometimes, when there's so much change, it's very difficult to create that culture that creates a winning situation as well. But let's talk about plans that did actually come together in a pretty short space of time. The Springboks under Rassie. When you look back now, Flo, on that journey of, for how many months, 18 months. I look back and I'm fascinated by how everything just came together and worked out eventually. Do you sometimes sit down and think about it and just say, this is what Rassie said this day and this is actually how it played out? Or not really?
No, exactly that. and I think you've actually answered what happened right there, in the fact that it does go back to culture, it does go back to consistency, and then you say, well, how does someone come in 18 months and change that? I don't think he necessarily changed where we were. I mean, obviously 16 and 17 were, very dark days to African rugby, and we went off script. But what he really did is realigned all the players, all the staff, back to what South African rugby was, what South African rugby is, what South African rugby should be. And a lot of the elements that he brought in were bits and pieces that I've seen over my career with South Africa, all the way going back to 2010. The strongest parts of South African rugby history and the culture there, and the style of play, the strategy. You can have all the plans, all the detail, but there's an element of pitching up to the game, ready to execute your job, which is, I think, something that's really held South African rugby in good stead in the past. And I think he really did bring that back in the individuals, that desire to achieve, to win, to dominate, in your position, in your role. But ultimately was realignment, getting everyone on the same page, everyone wanting to be there, wanting to buy into the plan, wanting to work to the plan, towards that plan, at any cost, often at big sacrifices from individuals. But with everyone on the same page, and the talent group that we have in South Africa, we're always going to have a good chance at reaching the finals and making a name for ourselves. And we obviously managed to pull it off.
Floki, so the bomb squad obviously became very well known, and you sort of lived by it. I mean, as a guy who's not adverse of having a few tattoos, have you got the bomb squad tattoo on the bum, or did you give it a skip?
I don't have the bomb squad tattoo on my bum. I gave it a skip, but the bomb squad does live strongly in my heart. So, I don't need a tattoo to remember that.
I guess if I look at the World Cup,
there's no more space left on his arm.
Yeah. That's true, right? Maybe get one on the other side of the arm. The biceps are done.
Lots of space here, but let's leave it for now.
But the bomb squad to me epitomizes what obviously Rassie set out to do, is that there's a squad of 31. Everyone's got a specific role, whether you're starting or not starting. I mean, we watched the Springboks play, and it seemed like there was a minimum requirement to be a Bok. It wasn't just good enough to do the standard thing. You had to go over and above. But it takes me back to 2008, Floki, when you started playing with us, and Rassie Erasmus came in from the Free State. And obviously, loose forwards was me, Dwayne Vermeulen, and Francois Louw. And the first time Francois Louw tried to pass or did a passing drill, he knocked it to the ground, Floki, and then Rassie just said, "Flo, never in your life do you pass again." I've never seen a bloke so upset. He wasn't allowed to pass, not even when there was an overlap. Just struck it up, Floki.
Well,
was there a bit more leeway towards?
I think it's a skill I developed over time. I mean, I've got a few good passes.
Like your skateboarding.
Was there a bit more leeway from Rassie when you entered the bomb squad? Were you allowed to? Do you have a few little offloads and chicken wings, or was it just pretty much tuck and go, Floki?
No, he did quite strictly say, when you cross the 22, no one in the forward pack is allowed to pass. You must tuck. You must pick a target, and you must carry your overs line, and you must get over the advantage line. No questions asked. Don't look for this and that and that. Just go, pick a target and run straight.
So not much change.
But, not much, no.
But still, I think what was clear to me, and obviously, I wasn't part of the squad or anything, but it, as you just said, it really seemed as if everybody knew what was expected of them. You had a clear role to play within that 31-man squad, and everybody knew exactly where they stood. In other words, if you were, take a Schalk Brits, for example, who basically came in as a third-choice hooker. The expectation was probably never there for him, thinking that he's going to start in the World Cup final. He knew that a couple of things had to happen for him to eventually get a start. And it's just as if everybody knew where they were. If you played in a way that could put you in a position to escalate in that ladder, if I can call it that, then that chat would be he would have with you, and you would know where you stand again. Is that a clear assessment?
Yeah, I think. I know the outlook throughout Rassie's tenure as coach was, complete transparency. That's often a term that's thrown around quite a lot. Coaches being transparent, be honest with the players. I don't think anyone quite realizes the level of transparency that Rassie, went into. As you say, you knew where you were on the picking order. You knew if you were second choice or third choice or fourth choice. You knew before a tournament started that you probably weren't going to play a single game unless there was an injury. But you're going to be training every week, and you need to bring your side. And if you don't want to be there, that's okay. Just let us know, and we'll find someone else. So he very much had an idea of the type of player he wanted within his squad. Obviously, talent was the initial thing that got you in there, but the next was the character, the person. You had to fit that mold, and if you didn't, then we take someone else along. Back to Schalk, he knew exactly where he stood, and he championed that role. He was a big mentor for us, a good guy to have in that squad. And really he has to be ready as every other player. There's one injury, the next thing he's playing in a World Cup final, which obviously he doesn't hope for an injury, but you keep that dream alive of playing, and that ultimately motivates you to be a part of that process. But we definitely all had the bigger picture in mind, and that was something that Rassie drove massively.
I think the big thing there is you've got to be ambitious. So you might be as a third choice like Scalla, but you've got to train like you've got to put other people under pressure. You've got to improve constantly. And I think that's what Rassie got right. Because so often you'll be in that big squad and the guy is third choice, and you can actually see he's like down and his bad energy. Where all 31, at the end of the day, there were 33 players involved with the injuries to Trevor and Jesse Kriel. But you could pick it up, Obviously we had a bit of a dip against the All Blacks. But that was probably a good thing for us, a positive. We could rectify a few things that maybe we were a bit flat on the day, or we didn't play to our full potential. Floki, back to you. The reason why you're on the show is not because you've just retired. You've taken up golf, by the way, which is interesting. We've got a golf swing on here as well. You say you've got a bit of a fade going. But is your pub rating? You love a lager. I would go so far to say that you probably love a lager more than I do.
Well, Scalla, to compliment you, during my young buck days, entering professional rugby, I was very much influenced by the big dogs, the senior players, yourself, John de Villiers, a few of the other, hard VPO men. And what you did instill in me was very much a perspective on life. And having that perspective, requires a few beers, and I've sort of taken to that. I've adopted that throughout my career. It's stood me in good stead. But I think that's a fair assessment. I just may enjoy a beer as much as you do.
You even brought that into your celebrations on the rugby field, Flo. We've got some clips on that as well. Talk us through that. When you score a try, just show us that little. Make as if you've got a rugby ball in your hand, and then
you just crack the rugby ball open.
Crack it open and down your beer.
Yeah, you just have your little, your rugby ball there, and you crack it open and you take a sip.
Very creative. Very creative.
These days, you obviously don't get too many beers in cans. It's more the bottles. But that old school can that you open, that gave it a little, that just meant now it's time to relax.
Yeah.
I don't know, kind of incorporated that somehow.
So Floki, you guys win a World Cup, obviously you in Tokyo. You only realize how big winning a World Cup is, or what it means for South Africa when you arrive in South Africa. And obviously you go on this, celebration tour through South Africa, trophy tour. And then we have a little party, small little party out just nearby Francois. And then your favorite song of all time pops up. And obviously by that time you've cracked quite a few lagers. And obviously with a man that used to sport a mullet and is now very sharp looking. All is not lost for you. You jumped on stage and pretty much found your inner rocker.
Yeah, that was a great evening. There was obviously much to celebrate. I had my chums there, cheering me on, getting me all psyched up for the moment. Lo and behold, my favorite band of all time, rocking out there on stage just for us. It somehow just came over me that I needed to join them on stage.
Sorry, did they call you up? Is that the way that you remember this? Is that everybody started clapping, calling you up?
It was very much self-initiated. I was feeling confident in that moment, and I decided to capitalize on it.
We've actually got footage of that.
We've got some footage, we'll say this time.
So we'd like to play.
It was actually a private party, by the way.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing is that we were also invited to that private party. The unfortunate thing for you. So just talk us through this experience and what goes through your head, and what rating would you give yourself for this performance?
That's it, Blackie.
Who's that guy?
There we go.
Okay.
So Flo, give us a rating out of 10. What do you give yourself there?
Guys, that was a hell of a night. A hell of a night. I don't think any of us can deny that. A rating out of 10 of a moment in my lifetime, or as in the performance?
A moment, I guess.
It was right up there with winning the World Cup.
There we go. Just part of the continuation of the celebration of winning a World Cup. Not a lot of people get the opportunity to get on stage and sing a song that they really do like, Flo. So you know what? You won a World Cup and you got to do that. So.
Well, on that note, I mean, I can send something across your way for screening while you guys put up the credits after the show. It might be a nice.
Please do.
John Scalla can definitely remember that night that Danny Doolan's.
John the Villiers, Danny Doolan
is
on fire. That's it.
Danny Doolan, I've never heard of that place. Where?
Next to Shameless.
Okay.
I reckon Danny Doolan's we've got to have an episode for Danny Doolan's. The amount of beers we've had, the amount of evenings. John Smith also could only speak about Danny Doolan's. He had like a 10-minute insert about Danny Doolan's. Floki, please send it. Good
night. We'll
put it on. Yeah.
Flo, now I don't know if you are aware, but we've got a piece in every episode of Use It or Lose It that Schalk really loves, but it's a competition.
It's my worst.
No, it's really good, and we call it the Use It or Lose It Don't Laugh Challenge. Okay. So basically, you must not laugh. But so I'm gonna tell a couple of jokes, and then you not meant to laugh at all. Okay, but there's a point.
And there's no scoring system. John just decides.
No, there's a scoring system.
He just decides whether. And if you know the answer to the joke, please answer, because I cringe. I don't want this to be a part of the show. But unfortunately, I've got to.
And there's a big. Actually, this week we've got a very good prize for the winner.
So what's the prize?
No, I'll tell you after it.
Surprise. We got a surprise.
Okay, Flo. So please, straight face. Give us your best straight face. Yeah, that's good. Okay, John Smith was really good with the straight face, and Butch James knew all the answers, so you've got tough competition. Okay, so I'm going to start with the easy one. What is red but smells like blue paint? Red paint.
Doesn't even make sense.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That's. It only gets worse. Don't worry, Flo. There's another. How many to go?
I'm very
Four.
sorry to say, but Schalk has improved
Love one.
drastically.
Love one.
It's 'cause
Schalk
I'm
has improved drastically.
So uncomfortable with
1-0.
this part that I just keep quiet.
1-0. 1-0. Okay, you ready? Why aren't koalas actual bears? They don't meet the qualifications. Good. Okay, well done. Well done. It's still 1-0. Okay, it's fine now.
You're not going nowhere.
1-0.
Nowhere quickly. Yeah. Okay.
1-0. Okay, Floki third one. There's only 4 more to go.
Okay.
You ready? This is a good one. What did the police say to his belly button? You are under arrest.
That's so stupid. Well done, Floki.
1-0. 1-0. Did you switch off the sound there? Okay. Okay. I'm gonna skip. I'm gonna skip one. I'm gonna do 2 more. Okay, ready for it. 1-0. 1-2 to go. What did Jay-Z call his girlfriend before they got married? Fiancé. Fiancé? Not?
Next.
Okay. I got a laugh here at the audience. It's a little laugh. Okay. Okay, so 1-1, last one to go. Last one to go. Don't laugh and you win. Okay. What is Bruce Lee's favorite drink? Water! No, very well done, guys.
Is there one more? Then we've got to decide it. Flo, have you got a joke like this? Because I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Okay.
I got nothing.
Guys, okay, last one. This is decider. Okay, Floki, concentrate.
Yeah.
Are you on your phone? Are you?
I'm looking away. I'm getting that video. I'm setting it to Schalk now.
Okay, this one is not that great, but it's good. Some guy just assaulted me with milk, cream, and butter. How dairy? Not.
Are there any more?
I hope not. Please stop it.
I need to improve on my jokes. Eh?
No. The funny thing is, before it, he said, listen, I've got the best jokes. This is the best jokes I've lined up on this whole series. So I'm like, come on, John. That cannot be the best jokes.
I actually thought that they were pretty good, Flo, but not.
No.
I like the qualifications one. That one had me inside. I was laughing.
Yeah, you felt it. Felt it.
I laughed at the vest one.
Yeah.
You're under a vest.
But I thought you guys were, because I actually liked the Bruce Lee one with the water. But you didn't laugh. Okay, I'll have to up my game. Or we need to can it. We need to can this, maybe. I think you should do the jokes next week.
I'll do the jokes next week. Yeah, I'll do.
But Flo, thank you very much for joining us. World Cup winner. You played in 3 World Cups. You had a fantastic career at the Stormers and Western Province. A great career and made a great living in Bath as well. I think it's, as mentioned earlier, it's a career that certainly your parents are very proud of, and a career that I think your granddad would be extremely proud of. So well done on a fantastic career and ending it the way that you did. We hope to see you in Cape Town soon. We'll be checking some houses and maybe just sending it through.
We keep on sending him links of houses for sale in the southern suburbs, and I know Sarah's having a little look at them. I'm not too sure about Flo, but Floki, one of my best mates, one of the real good men of rugby, and we spend a lot of time together. We're going to spend a lot of time together in the future. A great career. Congrats on the retirement. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you've taken up golf. That means we can spend some more time together. And like with all of us, also a man who went from some serious injuries in his career, neck fusion just before 2015 World Cup, came back in no time to play, not in the first game against Japan, but came back for the second game against Samoa. So Floki, great to have you on the show. Hope you enjoy this watch, and send John some new jokes, please.
No, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for those words. Yeah, you guys played a big part in that. So nice to be joining the club again. And look forward to catching up with you guys soon.
Thanks, Flo Kid. It was an absolute pleasure speaking to you this evening. And there you have it. Mullets, half pipes, World Cup medals, and lots of beers. Francois Louw, a legend of South African rugby. Scalla?
You've got to help me through this once again. And don't forget, guys, to like us on Facebook, subscribe to YouTube, and I think you've got to follow us on Instagram. All the best. See you next time.
Cheers.
South Africa!